Hi, my name is Jeff Stanbaugh, and welcome to the Graduate Seminar in Entrepreneurship. This first video is just going to give me a chance to introduce myself to you. I hope to also have a chance to meet many of you face-to-face, or if not face-to-face, to get to know you better through email exchanges and the videos that you'll make for the class. I've been at Midwestern State for just over 9 years. I've taught business strategy and entrepreneurship, and I've also branched off now where I direct the Energy Management Center. But I have to tell you, I love the topic of entrepreneurship and I love teaching entrepreneurship. While hopefully you've been enjoying some downtime between the spring semester and the beginning of the summer semester, I've been going through this course and getting everything refreshed and keyed up again, and I get excited all over about teaching this class and about the material. Here's a little bit about my background. I jokingly say I graduated 1.5 million years ago. It was actually in 1981. From the U.S. Air Force Academy with an undergraduate degree in aeronautical engineering. I then embarked on a 24-year career as an Air Force officer and fighter pilot. I loved what I did in the Air Force, and I'll have to tell you, if I had a chance to do it again, I would do it all over again. But like I'll allude to later in this video, if I knew then what I'm teaching you in this class now, I would have done it much better. As far as educationally, I picked up a totally forgettable night school degree along the way during my Air Force career because that was expected that you would have a master's degree. So I have a special sympathy for those of you that I know are juggling full-time work and your studies. I know how challenging it is, and I hope I make a good use of your time and that you look back on this class and you say that I learned a lot and I had a lot of fun. When I retired from the Air Force, I had to figure out what I was going to do with the rest of my life. And I settled on this topic of being a university professor. So when I retired, I went to Texas Tech University in Lubbock, Texas, earned my PhD, and then moved to Midwestern State and have been here since. I'm married. My wonderful wife, Dree, and I have been married for 30 years now, which is a testament to her endurance and perseverance. I have 2 children. My oldest is a boy, Ben. He's 21, and my daughter, Anna, is 16. In terms of hobbies, I love to fly. I still am a part owner in a little airplane. I give flying lessons from time to time. And so really my number one hobby is probably flying. As I get older, I search for things of greater significance, so I probably spend more time now in Christian service than I ever have because I feel like that is really the best use of my time. Enough about me. Let's talk a little bit about the topic of entrepreneurship and why I'm so passionate about it. Again, a little bit about my background in that I grew up in a relatively large family, in that I had lots of aunts and uncles and cousins and things like that around me. And if there was one common denominator besides the fact that we were all family, it was that our parents were employees of large businesses. There were no business owners, there were no entrepreneurs, there were really not even any member of my family that worked for small companies. They all worked for big companies. And entrepreneurs were a mystery to me. They were almost like Superman or Superwoman with all they were able to accomplish. Well, then what did I do as a career? I went off and became an employee in a very large organization. That would be the U.S. Air Force. And so I didn't have a lot of exposure around these small businessmen and women that were creating, from my mind, so much incredible success. When I retired and was entering a PhD program, I got a very good piece of advice from a mentor who himself was a retired military officer before he had become a professor. He said, you're going to want to focus on entrepreneurship because with your background, you've done a lot more entrepreneurial things than you realize, and you're going to enjoy studying that the most. And you know what? He was exactly right. In a lot of ways, the Air Force is a very unentrepreneurial organization in that it's big. But in other ways, I had some pretty entrepreneurial opportunities. And by that, I mean I was given tasks and said, we don't really know what we want, but just make this happen. I was put in charge of various sized organizations, which gives you a taste of that responsibility and that feeling like the weight of the world is on your shoulders. And the success or failure depends on the leadership that you provide to your unit. That's very much like entrepreneurship. And so I've really enjoyed the study of entrepreneurship. Let me tell you a couple of things that I have learned about entrepreneurship. The first is that Even though entrepreneurs are different than many people in society, they're not Superman and Superwoman. It's not a matter of having to be a Superman or Superwoman to succeed as an entrepreneur. A lot of the skill sets that translate to success in any domain translate to success in entrepreneurship, and that'll be one of the topics that we'll talk about in the class. So while I still have immense respect for entrepreneurs, I now recognize them and what it takes to succeed a little more realistically than I did in the past. The other thing is kind of interesting is that I understand better now how the spoils of business go to ownership. Uh, I was a very high, as a pilot, I was a very highly paid person. As a professor, I'm a fairly highly paid person. If you look at a lot of Americans, they don't make that much money. And what you're going to find is the people who own businesses, when they're successful, they do make money. There are lots of businesses in Wichita Falls where the company has revenue of several $1,000,000 a year, or maybe less, sometimes much more. And those owners are making $2, 3, 4, $500,000 a year, or even, believe it or not, I know some people have companies whose annual revenues are in the tens and twenties millions of dollars, and they're personally making $1, 2, $3 million a year from that business. And so that's why in a business program, it's good to study entrepreneurship, because if someone says to me, I want to get wealthy, then I would tell them, A, be a very professional person, and be a highly specialized professional in a very unique and in-demand skill so that you can command a lot of money, or B, become a business owner, become an entrepreneur, because that's where you're going to make money. But there's something I want you to understand about how I'm going to talk about this course and about me personally. It's my job to teach you about entrepreneurship, and there's really two ways you can measure success in entrepreneurship. One is in the impact or the value created for society. It may be, as is true of a lot of social entrepreneurs, you are primarily motivated by the good you can do with your organization. And we'll talk about some organizations that are going to fit into that mode, if you will. The more common way, the more prevalent way, though, frankly, is to measure the amount of money the business is making. Ultimately, that is not a bad measure of entrepreneurial success and value creation for the business, because what creates value gets compensated. And so when you see an entrepreneur that is making a lot of money, or their business has high profits, that's a pretty good signal that they found a way to create value. There are a subset of businesses where they're just a little bit piracy, and they're not a business I would want to be associated with, and probably you wouldn't either. They are there, but they're a relatively small segment. So we're going to talk in this class a lot about making money. And I make no apologies for that. That's my job as a business professor, is to teach you about those things. But I want to put out there right now that there are lots of ways to be a success in life, by creating impact, by treating people well, by treating your employees well, that may take money out of your pocket and put it into other people's pocket. So even though I'll talk a lot about people who make a lot of money, I just want you to understand that's really not my personal metric for success. I have other personal metrics for success, things like changing your life for the better by teaching you entrepreneurship. But just as a caveat, I don't want you to become turned off in the course when I'm going to talk about, oh, this sold for $2 billion. Oh, this person made this much money. It's just the way we tend to measure success. So now let me close this introduction with why I'm so personally passionate about this course. I often say that when I teach entrepreneurship, I'm trying to give you a new set of glasses to see the world through, glasses where you see opportunity where other people don't. And I'm going to be very honest with you. If I would have learned the things that you are learning in this class when I was your age, assuming that most of you are going to be, say, 40 or younger, I would have lived my life a little differently. I would have been a better Air Force officer. And when I retired, I probably wouldn't have become a professor, because I would have known everything I know now, and I would have gone off and launched a business. I would have been more comfortable doing that. That's what I really wanted to do. But I would have been more comfortable doing that because I would have known it doesn't take Superman or Superwoman. It takes a person who's smart, willing to work hard, and all the things that we're going to study later in the class. But I honestly believe in this course, if you pay attention, if you dive into the material, if you take this class seriously, then I am literally going to change the trajectory of your professional life. Regardless of what you choose to do, you are going to do it better because of the lessons that we've learned in this class. The next video, I'm going to talk about specifically what we are going to learn in this class and try to motivate you towards entrepreneurship. Join me for that video.